and I still don't intend to sway anybody, but enough caveats. You know the score by now. Let's go back to this article. So this says that he had allegedly shared this footage without any proper policing purpose, as it says here, and that there may be an accusation that he's accused of misconduct in public office and perverting the course of justice. Now, this strikes me as similarity to another case a long time ago where there was a GCHQ agent translator called Catherine Gunn, who had shared a memo, apparently had shared a memo revealing US requests to bug United Nations delegates before the Iraq War. I think the prosecution eventually dropped the charges before the trial. They offered no evidence, and that was probably due to fears that the public interest defense would kick into play, that the general public would really want to know the legalities of what was going on and what was in that memo, what really happened, and therefore there might be a public interest defense there. And so, generally speaking, I think similar things would apply here. Now, first of all, if they were to look at an officer, generally speaking, for leaking footage that they shouldn't leak, now, we can all probably agree that in their ordinary course of duty, they shouldn't probably leak stuff that they're not allowed to leak, etc. But if it becomes clear on the back of a viral video that everybody believes one thing, it then may well be justified for an officer to correct public opinion and then, of course, to allow justice to take its natural course. And that is precisely the point here, because if someone is accused of perverting the course of justice, then they would typically be trying to do something to prevent justice from being done. Now, let's take a look at what this is. I'm going to borrow Cartwright King's website here. I'll link below for credit, but we are generally talking about these kind of things. To use them as jumping off points, we're normally talking about interfering with witnesses, concealing evidence, false allegations. False driver details is a big one. For example, if you get flashed on a speed camera and you give your spouse's or partner's details instead of yours, then you are twisting and perverting the course of justice, because it's supposed to be you, the driver, who is punished for, let's say, exceeding the speed limit, or being accused of exceeding the speed limit if you want to go to court and have your day in court. But if you give the wrong details, that is one of the reasons some people find themselves in the Crown Court for perverting the course of justice, because this is an indictable-only offence and it carries the maximum of life imprisonment. So being accused of such thing is relatively serious, but they need to show in such a case that they have the intent to pervert the course of justice. And by way of illustration, turning to the practitioner's text here, this is Blackstone's 14.39 for law students. Perverting the course of justice requires a positive act, coupled with an ulterior intent, namely an intent that the course of justice will be perverted. This intent cannot be established by mere incompetence, muddle, and the defendant's failure to appreciate the significance of what had been done. And so, generally speaking, still not talking about the specific case because there's no need to, but generally speaking, if one were to leak CCTV footage so that the public have the full picture of what really happened, or to really correct a false impression, much like you would do in a defamation case, whereby you can say something more than you perhaps could initially to correct a public impression where somebody has said something wrong, then that surely is a good thing. And so, generally speaking, I would think the public would appreciate having the full picture, and this very generally is not something we should be attacking police for. If in the circumstances the person in the video has been convicted of an offence subsequent to the leak of said footage. And speaking of stories that are infuriating, we now have more headlines about government agencies that state that there's an internship that is being branded racist, that's banning white Britons from applying. I'll take a look at the legality of that in just a moment. Don't go